Welcome, math detectives. Today, we're going to crack a code that helps solve all sorts of puzzles, from sharing snacks with your friends to organizing your collections. So let's jump right in. So let's start with a little mystery that you can totally solve with a secret code we're about to learn. Just think about it for a sec. You've got 12 cookies, 18 brownies, you want the greatest number of goodie bags, and every single bag has to be exactly the same. No one gets more brownies than anyone else. How would you even figure that out? Well, the key to solving puzzles just like this one is something called H.C.F. Now, I know, it sounds kind of technical, right? But once we break it down, you'll see it's an absolutely powerful tool for any math detective.
So the most important point is what H.C.F. actually stands for. It's highest common factor. And you know what? Each one of those words is a clue. Let's look at them one by one.
Okay, first, let's make sure we all know what a factor is. A factor is simply a number that divides into another number perfectly, with nothing left over. Think of them like a number's building blocks. So for the number 12, the factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, because all of those divide into 12 with no remainder. Simple as that.
First up is that H. This tells us we're looking for the biggest value we can find. You know, in our goodie bag mystery, we don't just want any number of bags, we want the greatest number of bags possible, the highest one.
Next up is C. C is for common, which just means something that's the same for all the numbers in our puzzle. So in our case, we need a factor that both 12, for the cookies, and 18, for the brownies, actually share.
And finally, we have F for factor, which brings the whole thing together. So we're looking for the highest number that is a factor and is common to both 12 and 18. And that number, my friend, that will be the greatest number of goodie bags you can make. See? It all makes sense.
Okay, so now that we've decoded the name, it's time to assemble our detective toolkit. These are the clues and the secret shortcuts that'll help you spot an H.C.F. problem from a mile away.
Okay, listen up, because this is a huge tip. When you see these words in a problem, words like identical or greatest number or divide equally, your brain should immediately think H.C.F. It's like a signal that tells you exactly which tool to pull out of your kit.
And now for a really awesome shortcut. If you have two consecutive numbers, numbers that are right next to each other, like 8 and 9, their highest common factor is always 1. Why? Well, think about it. Numbers right next to each other don't share any factors other than 1. It's a fantastic little trick to keep in your back pocket. All right, it's time to put our skills to the test. Let's open up our first case file and see how this all works. We've got two mystery numbers. We know their H.C.F. is 6, and we know they add up to 42. So, what are they?
The clues right here in our file tell us to look at the multiples of our H.C.F., which is 6. And that makes perfect sense, right? If 6 is the highest common factor of both mystery numbers, then both of those numbers have to be a multiple of 6. That's our first big break in the case.
And look at this. The solution is just 3 simple steps. First, since the H.C.F. is 6, we know both numbers are multiples of 6. So let's just list them out. Second, we scan that list for two numbers that add up to 42. And there it is. 12 plus 30 equals 42. And just like that, case closed.
All right, detective, case 1 is in the books. Let's take on our second case. This one's a little bit different. We know the H.C.F. is 4, and we know one of the numbers is 12. We just have to find its partner.
Now, this case has a really important rule we need to pay close attention to. The key here is that the H.C.F. has to stay exactly 4. It can't be anything bigger. So we have to be super careful about the factors we choose for our second number.
Let's follow the evidence. First, we analyze the number we know, 12. We can break that down into 3 times 4. Now, rule 1, our mystery number must be a multiple of 4 because the H.C.F. is 4. But, and this is the crucial part, our mystery number cannot also have 3 as a factor. Why? Because if it did, their common factors would be 3 times and 4, which means the H.C.F. would actually be 12, and we need it to stay 4. So we just find multiples of 4 that aren't also multiples of 3. And that gives us a whole list of possible answers, like 4, 8, 16, and 20.
Okay, you're doing great. Time for our final and most challenging case. This time we get 2 clues, the H.C.F. and the L.C.M. Now, L.C.M. stands for lowest common multiple. That's the smallest number that's a multiple of both our mystery numbers. With 2 clues this good, we can definitely crack this case.
So the case file gives us our whole strategy. We know our mystery numbers have to be factors of their L.C.M, which is 45, but at the same time, they also have to be multiples of their H.C.F, which is 3. Having these two rules at once really narrows down our list of suspects.
This slide lays out the full plan. First, we list all the factors of the L.C.M, 45. Next, we filter that list, keeping only the numbers that are multiples of our H.C.F, 3. That leaves us with our main suspects, 3, 9, 15, and 45. Now for a super powerful detective trick. The two mystery numbers multiplied together always equal their H.C.F multiplied by their L.C.M. So, 3 times 45 is 135. We just need to find pairs from our suspect list that multiply to 135. And look at that! 9 times 15 is 135, and so is 3 times 45. So we actually have 2 possible correct answers.
And with that, you've solved every single case. So what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, you're not a rookie anymore. You are now an official master H.C.F detective with a full toolkit of skills.
So remember these key skills for your next math adventure. Knowing what those letters stand for, spotting the clue words in a problem, and using the H.C.F as your first piece of evidence, those are the secrets to success.
So the next time you're sharing something, or maybe organizing your bookshelf, or even planning a party, keep your eyes peeled. See if you can spot an H.C.F puzzle hiding in plain sight. You have the code, you've got the tools, now go solve some mysteries. Thanks for cracking the case with me today.